In an industry obsessed with viral moments and overnight sensations, one name is quietly rewriting the rules again. In February, as headlines swirled around Super Bowl spectacle and streaming surges, Bruno Mars did something few predicted. He climbed past the noise and reclaimed the top spot on Spotify's monthly listeners chart. No halftime fireworks, no public campaign, just momentum. The headline is simple but striking. Bruno Mars has overtaken Bad Bunny as Spotify's most listened to artist in February, leading by a significant margin in projected listener share. The shift comes despite Bad Bunny's highly publicized Super Bowl performance and the promotional wave that followed. For industry watchers, the message is clear. Bruno Mars is not just competing in the streaming era, he is mastering it. To understand why this moment matters, you have to step back. Born Peter Gene Hernandez in Honolulu, Hawaii, Bruno Mars grew up surrounded by music. His father was a Latin percussionist, his mother a singer and hula dancer. By age 4, he was performing as an Elvis impersonator. By his early 20s, he was writing hits for other artists in Los Angeles, long before his own name dominated radio. His breakthrough came in 2010 with Just the Way You Are, a single that introduced America to his velvet vocals and retro-modern sound. What followed was a decade of chart-topping records, from Locked Out of Heaven to Uptown Funk, the latter becoming one of the defining pop songs of the 2010s. Over time, Bruno Mars evolved into something rare, a performer equally respected for songwriting, live showmanship, and studio precision. That foundation is what makes his latest streaming triumph more than a statistical footnote. In February, projections showed Bruno Mars commanding roughly two-thirds of the comparative listener share between him and Bad Bunny. While Bad Bunny benefited from the massive exposure of the Super Bowl halftime stage, Bruno Mars relied on catalog strength, playlist dominance, and cross-generational appeal. Bruno doesn't chase trends, says a veteran Los Angeles-based music producer who has worked with multiple Grammy winners. He builds records that feel timeless. When people rediscover one song, they fall into the whole catalog. That catalog effect is powerful in the streaming era. Spotify's monthly listener metric measures unique listeners over a 28-day window, not just total streams. It rewards breadth. It rewards replay value. It rewards artists whose music spans moods and demographics. In that arena, Bruno Mars has an advantage. His songs live on wedding playlists, gym playlists, throwback playlists, and top 40 rotations simultaneously. Industry analyst Karen Feldman notes that Bruno Mars represents the rare bridge between eras. She explains, he has the vocal credibility of a classic R&B singer, the hooks of a pop hitmaker, and the stage command of a Motown legend. That combination travels well on streaming platforms. There is also the matter of performance. Few artists in modern pop command a stage like Bruno Mars. His Las Vegas residencies have been praised for tight choreography, live instrumentation, and an almost obsessive attention to detail. Every horn stab, every drum fill, every lighting cue, it reflects a perfectionism that insiders say defines him behind the scenes. He's meticulous, says a touring musician who has shared festival stages with him. What people see as effortless charisma is actually hours of rehearsal. He studies arrangements like a producer, not just a singer. That behind-the-scenes discipline may explain why Bruno Mars continues to resonate even without constant social media theatrics. Unlike many contemporaries, he rarely floods platforms with personal updates. He lets the music circulate. In a culture driven by oversharing, that restraint can feel refreshing and mysterious. Meanwhile, February's streaming race unfolded in a unique context. Bad Bunny's Super Bowl moment was designed to create exactly the kind of spike that typically propels artists to the top of charts. Historically, halftime performers experience immediate surges in streams, but streaming dominance is not only about spikes, it's about sustainability. In this case, Bruno Mars demonstrated staying power. Music critic Daniel Reyes describes it this way: a Super Bowl performance creates a wave. Bruno Mars is the tide. Part of that tide stems from his genre fluidity. Bruno Mars blends funk, R&B, pop, soul, and even reggae influences without alienating mainstream audiences. His collaboration project Silk Sonic showcased his devotion to 1970s soul textures, while earlier solo albums leaned into polished pop-funk hybrids. This versatility keeps him algorithm-friendly. Listeners who start with a pop anthem may drift into deeper R&B cuts, extending listening sessions and increasing monthly listener counts. Culturally, Bruno Mars occupies a unique space in American pop. He is both nostalgic and contemporary. His music evokes Prince, Michael Jackson, and classic Motown, yet it feels engineered for modern playlists. That balance makes him accessible to older listeners while remaining relevant to Gen Z audiences discovering him through TikTok snippets and curated playlists. His influence also extends to fashion and performance aesthetics. The sharp tailoring, coordinated band outfits, and analog instrumentation have inspired younger acts seeking authenticity in a digital-heavy era. In an age of backing tracks and minimalist staging, Bruno Mars insists on live musicianship. It is a subtle but powerful statement about craftsmanship. The February milestone may also hint at strategic planning. Industry insiders speculate that renewed streaming momentum could precede new music or a major tour announcement. While no official confirmation has been made, timing in the streaming economy is rarely accidental. Artists often build anticipation through organic chart presence before unveiling larger projects. If that is the case, Bruno Mars is playing a long game. Rather than relying on shock value or controversy, he cultivates anticipation through quality control. That approach has earned him critical acclaim and commercial success, including multiple Grammy Awards and record-breaking singles. Yet perhaps the most compelling part of this story is psychological. In a hyper-competitive streaming landscape, overtaking an artist riding the publicity of a Super Bowl performance signals something deeper than numbers. It suggests brand trust. Listeners return to Bruno Mars not out of curiosity but out of familiarity and emotional connection. People feel good listening to him, says Feldman. There's joy in his records, that's powerful currency. For YouTube audiences following the story, the narrative is both dramatic and instructive. It challenges assumptions about how modern fame works. Visibility matters, but so does durability. Exposure creates awareness, but consistency creates loyalty. Bruno Mars' career has always been built on that loyalty. From early songwriting sessions in small studios to sold-out arenas, he has emphasized musicianship over spectacle. Even when spectacle surrounds him, as it often does, the foundation remains musical integrity. As February closes, the streaming numbers tell one story, but the larger arc tells another. Bruno Mars is not merely topping a chart. He is reinforcing a decade-long pattern of resilience and reinvention. In a marketplace that rewards novelty, he proves that refinement can be just as powerful. Looking ahead, the question is not whether Bruno Mars can sustain this momentum. History suggests he can. The more intriguing question is how he will evolve next. Will he double down on retro influences, experiment with new collaborators, expand into production ventures? Each possibility carries weight. What remains certain is his cultural footprint. Bruno Mars has shaped the sound of modern American pop while honoring its roots. He has bridged generational divides. He has demonstrated that commercial success and artistic discipline are not mutually exclusive. And in a month defined by spectacle elsewhere, he quietly reminded the industry of something fundamental: great songs endure. For fans watching from across the United States, this February moment feels less like a surprise and more like a reaffirmation. Bruno Mars did not need a halftime stage to command attention. He built an empire on melody, groove, and relentless preparation. The streaming crown may shift again, trends will rise and fall. But if February proved anything, it is this: Bruno Mars remains one of the most formidable forces in contemporary music. And the next chapter may already be unfolding behind closed studio doors where the real work and the real magic always begins. Bruno Mars is once again at the center of the music industry conversation. In a surprising February surge, Bruno Mars has reportedly overtaken fellow global superstar Bad Bunny in Spotify's monthly listener race, despite the massive exposure surrounding the Super Bowl spotlight. The development has sparked debate across the entertainment world, raising questions about longevity, catalog power, and what truly drives streaming dominance in today's digital era. For American audiences, this moment is bigger than chart numbers. Bruno Mars has built a career defined by precision, showmanship, and cross-generational appeal. From his early breakout hits to sold-out Las Vegas residencies, Bruno Mars has consistently blended funk, pop, R&B, and soul into a sound that feels both nostalgic and modern. Unlike many viral-driven artists, his streaming strength appears rooted in catalog depth and loyal fan engagement. Industry analysts note that monthly listener rankings measure unique audience reach, not just temporary spikes. That distinction makes Bruno Mars' February lead especially significant, highlighting sustained interest rather than momentary hype. Why does this matter now? Because it signals how star power is evolving in America's music landscape, where consistency, brand trust, and timeless hits can outperform even the biggest promotional stages. Watch the full breakdown to understand what this shift means for Bruno Mars, the streaming wars, and the future of pop music.